Hey, what's up, you guys? WWE fan 0599 here again, and today we're going to review Poltergeist, the 2015 remake. So, Poltergeist stars Sam Rockwell, and what this film was about. It's about, this family. They move into a new house, and, it's all fine and dandy until the little girl, Madison, is talking to these ghosts, and it starts becoming weird and everything. And when these ghosts suck her into the closet, they must get her back. So, what did I think of Poltergeist? This was garbage. This was absolute garbage. This movie was garbage. Like, garbage. Just, wow. Wow, Hollywood. Listen, I'm not the biggest fan of remakes. I know remakes have been around since the dawn of time, but, there are remakes that are good in my opinion, there have been. But when it comes to horror, there are very little good horror remakes, and there's a lot of bad ones. Nightmare on Elm Street, The Haunting, Halloween, Friday the 13th, they're just not good, and this is another one that's just not good. But I do have a few positives with this movie, and my positives are the acting. Some of the acting's pretty good in this movie. I did like some of the acting in this movie. Sam Rockwell, let's get right off to it. He's great. He really is. He's just great in this movie. I loved him as the dad in this movie. He was really, really good. I really liked him in this movie as the dad. He was good. So yeah. I did like the person that played the wife. I'm sorry, I forgot the actress's name, but she was good too. The guy who played the main paranormal investigator, he was great as well. I had his name, but then I forgot it, but he was great as well, so yeah. And finally, the little girl who plays Madison. Now, this girl had a lot to live up to. She had the most pressure, I think, out of anybody in the cast, because, especially for a little kid, having that much pressure, because she had to she had to follow up Heather O'Rourke's performance in the original Poltergeist, and to me, that's one of the best performances from a kid actor ever. So she had a lot to follow up to, and she did a pretty good job, in my opinion. I did like her in this movie, so yeah, she was good. I really liked her in this movie. So yeah, the acting's good. The directing is pretty good with this movie. I did like the directing with this movie. I think whoever directed it did a great job directing it. So yeah, the pacing's decent. That was decent, the pacing. It was very decent in my opinion, so yeah. So those are my only positives. Let's get into my negatives, because I have a lot of negatives with this movie. The CGI, this movie is like jumbled with CGI, and they're like, let's just have CGI tell the story, and it's just terrible. The CGI looks absolute garbage in this movie. It looks garbage. It is bad. The CGI in this movie, when they do the souls or whatever, it looked as bad. It looked as bad as the movie The Haunting. You guys remember that movie with Liam Neeson? It looked as bad as that movie. It was just, oh my gosh, it was just so bad, in my opinion. The souls look terrible. When they go through the portal, it looks terrible. It just, the CGI is just awful with this movie. I couldn't stand it. This movie's not scary at all. This movie is not scary. When I go into a horror film, I want to at least be scared. And I'm not scared by this movie at all, because it's just not scary. Remember the clown they kept on promoting in all the posters, in the ads, in the trailers? He's only in it for one scene. That's it. That's it. One scene. They Dumb and Dumber 2 did. If you know what I mean, if you've seen Dumb and Dumber 2 with the dog truck, he's in for one scene, and that's it. And they just want CGI to scare you, and CGI just doesn't scare you. With the original Poltergeist, they used practical effects and real skeletons, and that made you scared a bit. So yeah, this movie's not scary. The writing is just terrible with this movie. I couldn't stand the writing. The writing was just awful with this movie. The rest of the acting is not all that great. I will admit, it's not horrendous or anything, but it wasn't that good either. Like the sister, at the beginning she wasn't really that good, but then she just became okay towards the middle part of the movie, so yeah. The son was so annoying. It was just baffling, in my opinion. I just couldn't stand the son. And what they do with his character towards the end, like towards like almost the final act of the movie, it was just awful. Not going to spoil it, but it was just awful. I couldn't stand it. So yeah. And the rest of the paranormal investigators weren't that good either, so yeah. Man, this wasn't a good movie. And the ending is so abrupt. Like, when I saw the ending, I was like, really? That's how you're ending it? Like, it was so abrupt, and I couldn't stand it. Definitely probably one of the worst endings of this year. It was just so abrupt, and man, this movie was terrible. This movie was bad. Like, great, we can add this to another horrible horror remakes. And I'm not bashing this movie because it's a remake. Don't think that for a second. You know, I wanted this movie to at least be decent. But no, it was bad. And you shouldn't waste your money on this movie. Please, go see something else. Don't waste your money on this movie. So yeah. So it's time for my official grade on Poltergeist. And my official grade on Poltergeist is a D+. The reason I'm giving it a D+ is because I had a few positives with this movie. Can't really, give it, like an F or a D- or something like that, because I have a few positives. But this movie's still awful. Please, don't waste your money on this movie. So yeah, Poltergeist is getting a D+. Just go watch the original, please. So, what'd you guys think of Poltergeist, the remake? Leave it in the comment section below. I'm WWE Fan 0599, and we'll see you all later. Peace.